Once upon a time, in a kingdom popularly referred to as Obago, lived a highly powerful and wealthy family known as the Obago family. It was said that the Obago family were so wealthy and possessed more land than the kingdom itself, that their forefathers were extremely lucky to find gold on their land, which they sold to the foreigners. They were treated with more respect than the king of Obago himself because they were so wealthy. The Obago's family lived in a huge mansion in Obago. The mansion is so big that it could fit the entire community. It exceeded the palace's actual size and beauty. The mansion was home to all the Obago kindred and relatives. They had a large number of maids and guards to take care of their needs, and they lived there in harmony and peace. There were 10 families living in the mansion, all led by the richest and the oldest son, Emeka. Because Emeka lacked education, he married Obimma, a stunning and well-educated woman. Unlike the other women in the family, Obimma was highly intelligent, which is why Emeka trusted her with the mansion's affairs and finances. However, Obimma was equally arrogant and proud, treating the other women harshly because she knew she was smarter than them and because they had to beg her for everything because she was the wife of the eldest son and their husbands were her husband's younger brother. Obimma lived like a queen since she could find maids and slaves to help her with all her needs. Anyone who dared to disrespect her would face serious punishment from her. She was the dominant woman, and everyone in the mansion knew it, including the people who lived in Obago. Anytime she leaves the mansion to visit the village, the people in the mansion felt relieved and the villagers shook, frightened of her presence, treating her as though she were the village queen. Even the Obago kingdom's king recognized her authority. All of Obimma's desires and wishes were fulfilled, but one precious thing was missing: a child. Obimma didn't have a child of her own. She had tried for over 10 years now. She had tried to conceive with her husband Emeka, but had failed. Despite seeing the best physicians in Obago kingdom and even neighboring kingdoms, none of them were able to treat her barren state, which contributed to her intense hatred towards other women living there. When one of Obimma's maids fell ill while bringing food for Obimma, she was afraid to tell Obimma because she wasn't strong enough. As a result, Obimma became enraged and chased the maid out of the house. She was jealous and envious of them because they had beautiful children while she didn't have any. Then she instructed the guards to find another maid in the village. A few hours later, her guard brought a young attractive girl to Obimma as her new maid. Her name was Chinaza, and she was only 18 years old. Her parents had left her at the orphanage when she was a baby, leaving her there to grow up until the age of 17 when a family came to adopt her. Chinaza agreed to go with them because they seemed like such nice people. But a few months after Chinaza moved in with them, the woman became pregnant and gave birth to her own child. After the child was born, the woman began abusing Chinaza and mistreating her. When Chinaza could take it no more, she fled the family but was unable to return to the orphanage. Instead, she would buy cheap vegetables from the farmers every day and sell them for a higher price in the market. But she had nowhere to live and was stuck in an abandoned cabin in the forest. Chinaza volunteered to go with the guards when they came to the market, promising a good pay. But she had no idea that she would become the maid of the most feared woman in all of Obago kingdom. Soon, she starts working for Obimma. She was very hardworking. While the other maids were laughing, gisting and chatting away, Chinaza would be seated alone, which made Obimma dislike her. She starts maltreating her, sending her ridiculous errands and beating her up with the slightest mistakes. Although Chinaza wanted to leave, enduring Obimma's cruelty seemed preferable to living in the cabin where she lived and sold vegetables under the scorching sun every day. Obimma felt that Chinaza was being selfish and arrogant, and she was unaware that Chinaza had a very difficult and isolated childhood. One day, Obimma told Chinaza to give her some hot water so she could have a warm bath. Chinaza did as she asked and fetched a kettle of water. However, as she was filling the bathtub with water, Obimma dipped her hand into the water and ran away in a fit of rage. She cried out to Chinaza that the water was too hot, and in a rage, she grabbed the hot water kettle and spread it all over Chinaza's body. Chinaza began to scream in agony, fell on the floor and started crying. But Obimma watched her as she noticed birthmark on Chinaza's back. The other maids arrived to save Chinaza and drove her to the hospital, but Obimma remained frozen in one place. The birthmark she discovered on Chinaza's back transported her back in time to her painful past and a secret she had been keeping for a long time. Obimma wasn't born barren. When she was a teenager, she was sent to live with her aunt. Because Obimma was so beautiful, her aunt's husband began making advances at her. She was a teenager, but her aunt's husband didn't mind. She reported the husband to her aunt, who slapped her for accusing her husband wrongly. The next night, her husband crept into Obimma's room and made love to her, which resulted in a pregnancy. Because she was too young to care for a child, Obimma's aunt forcibly removed her from the house after she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl with complications that affected her womb. She then took the child to the orphanage and left her there. Before leaving her there, she took a knife and gave the child a birthmark so she can recognize her in future. This was the birthmark she noticed on Chinaza's back. Obimma decided to run a background check, asking questions since she couldn't stop thinking about the birthmark she saw. At the end of it all, she learned that Chinaza was in fact her daughter. When Chinaza recovered from the injury, there was a large permanent scar on her face from the hot water. Obimma blamed herself for treating Chinaza so terribly without realizing that Chinaza was her daughter, even though she yearned for a child of her own. She told everyone in the mansion that Chinaza was actually her daughter. After disclosing all of the truth to everyone, she became so overwhelmed with grief and guilt that she suffered a stroke that rendered her paralyzed. Obimma lived every day regretting seeing her daughter and the scar she left on her face. She wished that she had been kind to everyone and not wicked, but it was too late. Everyone acknowledged Chinaza as her daughter, but Obimma spent the rest of her life bound to a wheelchair. When she most needed them, they would have been there for her. If she had been kind to Chinaza, her dream of having a child of her own would have positively realized. Instead, she now sat on the wheelchair day in, day out, watching everyone treat her disrespectfully and ignore her. The end. The lesson from this story is that you never know what will happen tomorrow and who will come to your aid. You could be a king tomorrow and a slave tomorrow, so treat everyone with love, even those who are below you. Please like, subscribe and hit the bell notification button. Until next time, bye.